What's good, you guys? Ace of All Trades here. Hope you guys are having a great day. We are here for the first GI community podcast of the year. Don't mind the typing. We're going to introduce you guys the guests momentarily. We really do hope you guys are doing well. First and foremost, before anything, I wanted to take the time out to say rest in peace to Kobe Bryant, and I can't even believe I said that, and Gigi and everyone else that was affected by the helicopter crash. I'm sure all you guys know what happened, and we were actually going to get the podcast going Sunday, but to be honest, I wasn't in the mood, and no one else was in the mood on Sunday, even Monday, or even now, to be completely honest with you. But we had to get the show out there for you guys, so our condolences to all the families that have been affected. I recommend everybody just staying off of social media for a while, because literally you think you're good, and then you see something, you get teary-eyed, all that. But yeah, man, it's crazy, but I just wanted to say that because I know a lot of people are being affected by it. It's a tragedy. It's really bad, y'all. But we have to move on and to the podcast. But just want to let you guys know that, and condolences to the families and everyone affected. And stay strong. It's gonna be okay, y'all. All right, you guys. Now, let's go ahead and introduce you guys the panel. Now, this panel, for you guys who are not familiar with the GI Community Podcast, this is a panel of Patreon backers, also members of the GI Discord that come through, support us on our streams and everything. So if you guys would like to participate in something like this, why not check out our Patreon? First, let's go ahead and introduce, I don't know if I'll call this guy GI community favorite, but everybody knows who he is. Say what's up, Sencon.
What's up? You know what I'm saying? I definitely am a favorite. Don't let this man Ace fool you. It's like, no, but y'all doing well with everything that's happened the past weekend. And yeah, let's get to it.
Okay, all right, bet. Another person on the panel that I would like to introduce you guys to. I know you guys have definitely heard him before. You can be sure him and his tag team partner, AB, will always have some type of slander when it comes to the GI Twitch streams. Say what up to 55 Problems.
What's going over everybody? That's all I gotta say.
And last and certainly not least, he's definitely around all the time. He is always causing a ruckus in the GI Discord chat. Say what up to Corliss.
I cause a ruckus in the Discord chat? Ah, come on, man.
He just outed you. He just
right, exactly. No, but in the wise words of Marshawn Lynch, take care of your mentals and take care of your chicken.
Big facts, big facts. All right, you guys. So just letting you guys know, those of you guys are listening, we will be having this eventually on Twitch, but for right now, we're just going to be doing the recording version of this. So shout out to everybody watching us over on the GI channel. Much appreciated. We'll put it out on all the social medias, and definitely be able to check out all of the panels. And supporting the game Illuminaughty and supporting all of us is an amazing thing, and this is our way of being able to get back to everybody. So appreciate everybody for coming through. Let's go ahead and talk about the first game. Now, we had a discussion off the camera about this TemTem. Now, I gave it a try. I said, let me check out TemTem, because this, TemTem is a Pokemon game for PC that you would want. And why I say that is, it has the ability to be able to have different customization when it comes to your trainer. The artwork and graphic design, actually, it pops. I like the art style from it. It's really cool, and you can be able to catch these different monsters that are called TemTem instead of Pokemon. Now, I believe, Corliss, you are the only one besides myself that have had an extensive playthrough of TemTem so far. How many hours have you registered in TemTem?
So far, I've been thoroughly enjoying it, and so far I have 25 hours according to my Steam log. So
okay, so
I'm at the second dojo.
Okay, so tell the people what you think about TemTem. Like, do you enjoy the fact that instead of using Pokeballs, you're using a Tem card, and you're not, instead of Pokemon is TemTem, and dojos instead of Pokemon gyms? Tell me your thought process behind it.
I mean, the similarities in like what they relate to Pokemon is there. Obviously, they just obviously can't copyright and just claim, the Pokeballs or card capture, what do you want to call it. But it's just it's thoroughly refreshing and enjoyable. There are things in this game, and the strategy wise, it's completely different from Pokemon. That's why I'm thoroughly enjoying it. All battles are 2v2. There's a stamina system. It takes a bit of strategy. The AI seems a bit smarter than in Pokemon, where they go by your type weaknesses and pick off your weakest monster, quote unquote, TemTem first. So I've been thoroughly enjoying it so far, and there's a vast amount of differences.
Gotcha. Now, let me ask you this, because I wasn't sure if this was, I didn't even look this up. I wanted to ask someone that played it also. Did your first battle, did you get your ass kicked? Because I got completely destroyed. Okay.
Yeah, the rival has like some like very rare, very legendary starter Pokemon. TemTem. That's not one of the 3 starters that you pick like a la Professor Oak style, where they always pick your weakness. It's even a different brand where he has no weaknesses technically for the starter that he's given.
Okay, all right. Cause I was about to say, I was like, yo, what? Hold up. Like, I'm usually the one kicking ass, and like all of a sudden, like, oh, like this time around, I'm getting my ass kicked. All right,
Your rival and the dojo leaders are no joke at all.
Oh no, I've seen some gameplay of some of the dojo leaders, and man, they're looking pretty ridiculous. Now, I know 55 and Sin, I know you guys have dabbled a little bit from when it comes to actually watching some gameplay of it. Does it interest you at all? Would you actually give it a try if you could? Yeah. Or, Sin, go for it. What's your thought process behind it?
See, I kind of played myself because I did want the game, but when I got the funds to acquire it, I bought Call of Duty on PC instead. But I for sure was looking for this game, like, since it got it's been in development, or I've heard about it since like last year, like early last year, and I was like, yo, this actually looks fire, considering like I don't like Pokemon because I've never played it like extensively, you know what I mean? Like, I had the games before, but this shit looked fire, especially because it was on PC. So I was like, if I ever get the chance to play this game, I would. But I guess for some reason my mind's just not that it's not that focused on getting it. But for sure, this does look like what niggas wanted on or for Pokemon since I guess like 10 years ago type shit. Like it's like open world, right? Like you can go wherever the fuck you want.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, you can go place to place, but it's like you should, go. There is a story, quote unquote, just like in Pokemon, and you go from dojo to dojo. Do some type of like side quest thing. That would be fighting the quote unquote the Team Rocket equivalent in TemTem and stuff like that.
And yeah, I thought it was cool. I just didn't want it to be a shameless Pokemon clone, which it doesn't look like it is.
It's definitely not. It's a breath of fresh air, I'd say, and there are vast differences in between them. I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far.
Oh, they look like they're really focusing on making this game as good as it should be, because like I've seen some of the Twitter posts or whatever about them like doing maintenance, and it seems like they really do care about what's going on in this game.
So invested.
Yeah, they've been very transparent with the maintenance reports and everything like that. So
yeah,
kind of
a lot about this game.
Kind of to piggyback off of what Sam was saying. My mistake. You go ahead. No, you go ahead and finish my mistake, Chief.
Yeah, I was just gonna finish with like it does look good, and whenever I get the chance, I'm for sure gonna check it out.
All right, cool. 55, you got anything else to chime in on that?
Pretty much like him. I like dabbled with it very sparingly, but I've never really been a big Pokemon guy. But I'm not gonna lie to you, if it looked like this back in my day, I probably would have been a Pokemon guy. Because I mean, as far as what we've seen, this is essentially what a kid would have described it as all those years ago. If you pretty much told them what the future would hold with technology, online gaming, and stuff like that. I mean, it's everything that you could have, like, if you tell somebody about Pokemon and you give them the idea in essence, these are pretty much all the questions and all the baselines that they want you to hit, what you're capable of doing. And then, I mean, anything I've seen from Pokemon, it looks fun, but it definitely like looks like there's a strategy to it. I feel like this elevates it to a next level, to the point where it sets itself aside from Pokemon, where if somebody just said, oh, this is a bootleg Pokemon, or this is a flea market brand Pokemon or something like that, you could literally just say this is a completely different experience. So I could actually differentiate the two, and I'm not even really a big fan But from what I've seen and how proactive they are with their community, I'm actually liking what I'm seeing from it. And I'd like to see this actually go on for years, if not one day possibly compete with Pokemon. But that's a big if, because I mean, Pokemon is pretty much the elephant in the room when it comes to that industry. But
I mean, yeah.
Pokemon has
I mean,
20 years of experience.
It's a lot, bro. That's a huge thing to attack. I mean, but from where they're coming from right now, because it's published by Humble Bundle and I think it's Crema Games, Crema Games, and it's developed by Crema Games. And for what they're starting with this, because I forgot to add this earlier for you guys, so I apologize. This is actually in early development right now. It's early access right now. So of course you're gonna go through your bugs. You're gonna see things that don't make sense. This isn't the full game yet. It's in early access, but they're starting pretty well, and plus it's very popular on Twitch too, and it's fun. It is fun, and they give you the ability to at least bring one other friend that you can be able to play with and go through like different missions. I believe I haven't had the chance to test that out myself, but you can join a friend's adventure, or you can kind of just explore on within the online world, which is cool because you'll actually go around. Like when you go to like the academia, is what it's like one of the first parts of the game. You actually see all different characters playing around the world, so it's really cool. So shout out to them for that. I actually am kind of surprised by it, because at first I was like, man, this ain't gonna be nothing. But then I actually started playing the game, and I was like, wow. And I believe that this came out at a good time too, because of the gaming drought that we are currently experiencing right now. And just, I think this is a good time. I've talked about it on my podcast, and I know the guys talked about it on the GI podcast. This is the time now to go ahead and get your backlog and take care of it, because there's not really much going on at this moment. Now, switching it up a little bit. Speaking of games that we're waiting to coming out, we've had some delays, and some delays for major games that I've personally been looking for, and I'm gonna go down a list and then we're gonna have a discussion about it. So yeah, Dying Light 2, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and Marvel's Avengers. Now, out of all those games, the game I don't care about the most at all, really, sorry Square Enix, Marvel's Avengers. I want to play it.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get fraud for that one.
no, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like when I saw that E3, I was like, oh, all right, cool. Like I guess, like it just, I don't know, man.
Of those four, it's the same for me too.
It's just, I don't know, man. It's just something about that game just makes me like not necessarily want to get it, even though like I'm a huge Marvel stan. I'm a huge Marvel Cinematic Universe fan. Like I love all the Marvel things, but just something about that game, I just don't know. I guess me personally, I'm gonna need to see more hands-on. I'm gonna have to get hands-on. I'm gonna have to see more things for the game before I say, oh, I'm getting this day one. That game in particular, for Marvel's Avengers, for me personally, isn't something that's day one for me at this moment. Now, of course, my opinion and my thought process is subject to change as we get closer to the release of it, because now it's coming out September 4th, 2020. Since it's been delayed, it's supposed to be coming out earlier this year. Now it's going to be coming out September 4th, 2020. So for me personally, this is the game that I'm not necessarily like, oh, I got to get a day one. But before we continue to go on with this discussion about game delays, I will never ever be upset at a developer, a publisher, for delaying their game to make the game better, because they're doing the right things. Because what happens if they would have released it and it was completely broken? Then everybody would be complaining about about it not being delayed. So y'all pick your poison. Stop being upset about game delays. You could be like, okay, you can be upset and bothered by it, but let's let them go forward and try to make the game better. I'd rather the game come out better than come out broken. That's my opinion on that. 55, what do you think about the games being delayed?
Honestly, to be fair, I kind of agree with you a lot, actually, because I mean, there are some pretty garbage games that came out this year that we actually had high hopes for. 2K.
Last year,
Yeah, last year, but definitely 2K.
Well, yeah, last year, my mistake. But I mean, like, pretty much, I'll never fault the developer, especially at this point. of taking time to pretty much polish the game and make sure it's not a pile of dog shit when it comes out. Because I mean, there were some really good games that we were actually looking forward to that literally, as soon as we got the finished product, it almost felt like we were getting punked to a certain degree. But out of all these games, now that I'm looking at it, I kind of wanted to agree with you with the Marvel Avengers. I mean, personally, out of these four, we already know which one we're looking for. Cyberpunk. Not really mad at that one getting delayed. I mean, I heard something about it's not going to have multiplayer for the first 2 years or something along those lines. I don't know how true that is, but I mean, this game at this point, it's so much riding on it to the point where if it's not perfect, literally everybody's going to have their own complaints about it. Dying Light 2, it's Dying Light in general. It was one of those games that pretty much snuck up on everybody. It was one of those games that somebody told you about, and you either got one person that didn't know anything about it or one person that swore by it. I was one of those people where I didn't know anything about it, and I played it a little extensively, and I actually loved it. It was actually, I would put that in the same category as Control, where it was one of those games where it's like you couldn't see yourself playing it when it was announced, but you actually played it. And I mean, it damn near was one of the better things of that year that it came out. As far as Fantasy VII goes, I mean, Final Fantasy VII is in like pretty much that same category of game where, just like Resident Evil 2, I believe, came out last year. It's you kind of already know what you're getting, but at the same time, it's one of those games where it's so great to the point where, I mean, literally everybody would probably chop off their right hand just to get the game early or get it when it was originally supposed to be released. So, I mean, as far as some of these game releases go, I mean, and these delays go, I mean, I'm not really mad that it's getting delayed as long as it comes out and there are little to no problems, which, I mean, that's wishful thinking in the world that we live in today. Or if it's just absolutely blows everybody out the water, you can't help but kind of tip your hat to them, because we've seen people push out shit too early just for the sake of making profit, for the sake of it being out there. And I mean, and it pretty much was literally little garbage. So, I mean, I have faith for these four games right here personally. And these are four games that I would actually see myself playing. I mean, of all these that came out, I probably only see myself buying one of these first day, and that's Cyberpunk. The rest of these, I mean, Marvel's Avengers, honestly, I'll probably watch you guys play that before I make a choice. Dying Light 2, I mean, it was the same as Dying Light 1. I mean, it's not going to be bad, but, I mean, first day, I don't think so. I've never really been the biggest Final Fantasy fan, but I've always respected it. I want to say I've played at least all of them to a certain extent, but first day, for me personally, it's not a first day, but I mean, that's not really saying anything. I typically don't buy a whole bunch of games first day anymore because after the Anthem debacle, I kind of got discouraged with the whole first day thing. I'd rather let somebody else be a test subject and then go from there. But at the same time, you have to discern your own opinion from what you've heard other people say, because everybody has their own agenda and their own bias to a certain extent.
Right. What about you, Sin?
So obviously looking for Cyberpunk. And then for Final Fantasy, I was gonna cop it because I've never played Final Fantasy before. And you know, this looks like a great entry point considering this is majority of like the franchise's fans' like favorite game.
It's actually unanimously the favorite game of most people who played.
Okay, so yeah, I wanted to just try it out, and they're also changing the combat to be like Final Fantasy 15 with the dynamic combat, but you can always go back to the turn-based one. And I actually I lied, because this is not my first Final Fantasy. I played 15, but I guess that doesn't really count because that's like a whole brand new storyline, and you know, 8 is the original Cloud storyline and that shit. So I do want to try that game out. Dying Light 2, I really like the first Dying Light. And I actually kind of forgot that the second one was coming until they delayed it again. Or they delayed it just now. So, you know, it kind of sucks that Dying Light 2 got pushed back, because that was probably besides Cyberpunk, that was one of the games I was looking out for this season. And then Avengers, I like Marvel in them, but with the Avengers, it does kind of look like the gameplay would get mad repetitive. So I'm just I'm really skeptical about that game, but if it's good, I'm gonna buy it. But if it's good, great. If it's not good, they just need to go back to the lab and try to replicate that same Spider-Man feel with these superhero games. Because if you can get that down, it's a lot. It makes it a lot easier for you to make superhero games. But if I could create a list of like the games I'm looking forward to on those 4, it would go Cyberpunk, Dying Light, Final Fantasy, and then Avengers. It seems that Avengers is like the least anticipated out of all 4 of us. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, but, I mean, the most part, at least anticipated, because I mean, like, me personally, just being like not really like a big superhero video game fan. I hold superhero games to a high standard though, because I mean, like, with the Arkham series, of course, literally being the best video game series of all time, in my opinion, and with Spider-Man on PlayStation, I mean, we see either really, really good superhero games or really, really shit superhero games. So
Facts.
You're not wrong.
it's like even if you make an average game, it still gets the distinction of being a superhero game that doesn't live up to those games that I've mentioned before. So I mean, it's still going to be one of those ones just either pushed to the middle of the deck or literally pushed in the back and never to be seen again. So I mean, the margin for error with this one is really, really high. So like I said, I don't mind that they pushed it back, but I mean, if it's still shit after you pushed it back, it's kind of like it's the equivalent of winning the Special Olympics. I mean, that joke is terrible. I'm sorry.
That's actually really bad, my guy.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, let's just go over you just chill out for a minute, 55. You see the trolling you was coming out, man. Yeah, Corliss, what are your thoughts about these games specifically being delayed? Do you care at all, or?
I mean, yeah, I care. I hope they're just doing it for a good reason. I know CD Projekt Red, they already came out and stated that they can't get Cyberpunk to run well on current gen consoles.
Yeah.
So that's why they're delaying Cyberpunk to get it running better. I do question if they're gonna have that same work practice where they're constantly crunching. And we'll get that report from Kotaku from Jason Schreier again about devs crunching and getting games to work properly again, but we'll see. I'm still skeptical about Final Fantasy VII as well, because I think people are forgetting that it's gonna be episodic. It's not a full game on day one.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a part 2.
So I need to see how much content will be on the first episode, or should I just wait for a bundle and buy all the episodes together? I need to see more about that and not just trailers. I need more details from that game.
I'd have to change my mind on that one. Then I might have to put Final Fantasy all the way at the end of the deck, because I mean, that escaped my mind, because I mean, at least with these other games, I mean, even if one has the prospect of being stupid, I mean, at least it's going to be a whole game. Right. To a certain extent, that being episodic, I mean, that's a big deal breaker, especially
40, 60, 100 hours on disc one. Like, what's going to be the deal for it, and how they're going to do the story and everything. So that's for that reason alone, it's at least anticipated. I need to see more details.
I forgot it was episodic.
Yeah, now that I heard that, I might just change it up. Actually, I might just bump Avengers up to number 3, because you never know what you're going to get with that first episode, how long it might take for them to compile all the episodes. You're just one person who wants to buy it all at once. So yeah, that's one of those few foolish details that, I mean, you might overlook, but that actually could make or break it for a lot of people, because me personally, I didn't even remember it.
Right. Nah, I feel you. Quick, go ahead, son.
On what you said about getting mad about like delays and shit, like, you're right, like, because when I first saw it, I ain't gonna lie, it was like I was really, really upset, but not at like CD for delaying. I was upset like just in the fact that I won't be playing the game
at that time. Yeah, no wrong with that.
Because I modeled like the first half of my year after like that release, like basically trying to like prepare shit for that, like streaming wise and that.
Right.
So when it got delayed all the way like another 5 months, I was like, fuck, like.
I think a lot of people took time off work for Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know for a fact people took time off.
Yeah.
I mean, I have faith in these guys, though. I mean, like I have faith that they're gonna deliver. I mean, especially because 5 months is such a big period in which like you had people waiting and pretty much planning their whole lives after it. So I mean, I personally don't think that they're gonna like deliver us a stinker, but at the same time, it's like hopefully it'll be significant enough to justify the wait, especially because the reason why we're waiting is because of current gen consoles. So
Yeah, I'd be shocked if this is the reason, what if they just scrap the current gen version of the game, only released it on the newest consoles?
see, I can't see them doing that because
Nah,
I
I
mean,
couldn't see they did it.
with the price of the next gen consoles, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people don't even jump at the idea of buying a next gen console, really.
Or if they delayed it for the current gen consoles again, but let it come out on like PS5 and X series still and everything.
Because I don't know if y'all know, like the game's done. Like it's done, bro. Like,
Yeah, they've said it's been done for a while, but I mean, it's
the entire game, like the storyline, the world itself, everything's finished. Like the game, if they want it, they could just put it out right now.
But they're not going to do that though, because they want to make sure that it's optimized for everything. Yeah, and they have a reputation. So
CD has done this before with their games. They've delayed.
Oh yeah,
because Witcher 3 got delayed 3 times?
3 or 4
Twice.
actually.
It got delayed once, like 6 months, and then it got delayed another like 6 weeks or whatever. And you know, we all know what happened with Witcher, so you know.
It was only twice. I could have swore it was 3.
It was a few times, but yeah, they're known for delaying. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the delaying if they're gonna fix with like issues and bugs that they see. Like I said, that's why a lot of people praise them, because after everything that they release when it comes to The Witcher 3, it's like, all right, cool. Like they want to take their time with it, and that's fine. If they don't feel that it's optimized enough for the current gen consoles, then and they want to get the bugs and kinks out because they don't want to disappoint fans any further, let them. That's okay. From what I saw from Cyberpunk, it's great. I can't wait for it. Oh yeah, it's gonna be good. It's definitely gonna be good. From what I saw from E3, it's gonna be good. I can't wait to actually play it. I can't wait for it to melt my PC. I'm ready. It's gonna be a good one. It's definitely gonna be a good one.
And then also, we got to remember, this is a company that literally delivered us a game that many people consider to be one of the greatest of all time. And that's not
very
just
true.
When this decade and this era, that's literally all time in all gaming. So, I mean, that's a game that literally people are still playing to this day. Like, they've never played it before.
It just surpassed its player count not too long ago.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, it's one of those games where, I mean, pretty much, it's one of those companies where it's like, I mean, the wait will definitely be worth it in one way or another. Because, I mean, it's not like these guys are literally just going to completely just flop. It's not like they're going to deliver us a project like Anthem, where it's like we got our hopes up for, I want to say, like a good year and some change, and then it's just nothing like we expected it to be. And pretty much like Sen said, it's been done for a while, but I mean, they're perfectionists, so they're going to want to get everything right. Everything. It's like, in a world where you can't get everything right, they get as close as you possibly can. So I'm definitely not mad at them for it.
Right. We definitely going to see. And speaking of games, what you guys currently playing right now? Sin, what you playing?
Modern Warfare, Kakarot, Fighters, Tekken a little bit, and Dark Souls 3, 2, and Bloodborne.
What about you, Corliss?
TemTem, what's the other one? Oh, Need for Speed Heat, Fire Emblem. At the moment, it's those 3.
What about you, 55?
Skyrim, my current favorite right now. The Outer Worlds, of course. This is about to be my, I think, 4th playthrough. Fallout, of course, as usual. Modern Warfare sometimes when I slip it in there. And then I recently found my GameCube and literally resurrected it, bought it back from the dead, so I'm playing some old games.
Nice. Currently playing Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I'm playing NBA 2K20. I know why I get myself ahead any further.
Sorry for your loss.
Even further. I'm playing TemTem, and Call of Duty. I recently have it on a PlayStation 4, and wow, the difference of level of gameplay and the difference of playing against people on PlayStation 4 than playing against pretty much everybody on PC. Wow, y'all
it's a big jump. I'm not gonna lie.
No, y'all are trash on console. It's a
running joke, but it's true.
It's really
a minor league.
Yeah, I went on there and I was like, yo, like, am I going against bots? Like, I was like killing. Like, it was like nothing. Like, I do pretty well on keyboard and mouse,
not gonna lie,
but it's easier on PlayStation. I'm not gonna front. It is. I was racking up bodies.
Literally 3 tiers. It's 3 tiers. Xbox is by far literally bottom of the barrel PlayStation. You could either get somebody that's really, really shit, or you can get somebody that's actually like decent enough to the point where he can compete, but I'm not with a whole lot of PC players. PC is literally just on a whole nother level because, I mean, at the same time, you have people with their mouth sensitivity to the point where if they literally held in a sneeze in their mouth, they could probably end up killing 3 people who are playing on console. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Not to mention the fact they literally have elements where it actually promotes playing strategically and not just running and gunning like how we were doing in the past. So, I mean, that's right up PC's alley. For the most part, you don't see anybody that's stupid play on PC. And the few people that leak through, I mean, they're probably console players that just got on PC just recently. But it doesn't surprise me. I mean, as somebody that played both, back when I used to play PC before, I mean, rest in peace to that PC, it was much harder because people actually played with a degree of intelligence. PlayStation, Xbox, as a player on PlayStation, Xbox, I can tell you it's not there. It's the players playing on this platform, they're not working with a full deck. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I legit was like shocked. I was like, wait, what? Like, this is really easy. And speaking of consoles, you know, we're back at the age now again where, you know, we got a couple of new consoles coming out and you know, around holiday time later this year. Console wars, y'all. Are you guys participating in any of the foolery, or are you just gonna be gamers like myself and just, you know, hope for the best for both consoles, and possibly if finances work for you to be able to get both of them and, you know, go for it there? 55, I know you're very opinionated. I'll go with you first. What are your thoughts, man? PS5, X1, the Xbox Series X, you're gonna just stay on your PC? What's the deal, bro?
Fair, I'm not gonna lie to you. At this point, I would probably tell a lot of people to start looking into the possibility of getting a PC. Because, I mean, for the most part, let's just get this out the way. If Xbox actually isn't releasing with any exclusives on launch, there's no point in getting it. If you're telling me you're one of those guys that's going to buy this year's Madden or this year's fucking 2K on a $700 Xbox just for the sake of doing it, I might tell you to go get your brain scanned. PlayStation, I mean, they're pretty much in the same boat, but at the same time, they're actually saying they're going to have some exclusives at launch. I don't know how true that may be. At this point, it might just be pure speculation. I could be talking out of my ass, but I mean, at least at this point, they let it be known that they're going to have something. At least they're going to give you something that might possibly justify that purchase. But I mean, at the same time, the pricing, for me, it's going to come down to 3 issues. One, the pricing. If it's close to the price of you building a starter PC, like 600, 700 range,
Build a PC.
worth it. Yeah, build a PC. Second of all, if it's anything with how it looks, this damn thing, my PlayStation Pro makes my room hot enough as it fucking is. I mean, you play it in the summer, you damn near run the risk of dying, especially if your room windows are closed. And I mean,
a lie. You're pretty accurate on that.
I understand that they said they're coming out with a couple of games, but at the same time, it's like, if those games aren't really your cup of tea, it's not really worth it in the same respect. As it's pretty much going to be in the same category as getting an Xbox. I mean, the titles that I've seen, I know that somebody said Spider-Man 2. I was interested in that one.
Bloodborne 2, God of War 2.
God of War 2, yeah. So it's like, if those aren't really your cups of tea, then, I mean, you'd be better off at that point just looking into building a PC and then going from there. Because, I mean, if you were one of the people leaning on the Xbox side, most of the games that you play on Xbox, you can play on PC now, from what I've heard, which is actually pretty stupid. But I mean, at the same time, it's the direction we're moving in this day and age with technology and gaming. So, I mean, with the PlayStation, I'm going to put an asterisk next to that one, and that's pretty much the console that I'm on now. I gave up Xbox a while ago. But if they don't have something that doesn't cater to you, it's looking like you might as well just go the PC route as well, because if the prices are close to what they're rumored to be, I mean, that's a startup PC. It's no point in getting something that's going to sit on your table just for you to play the new Madden or 2K or wait for the next trash Call of Duty to come out. I mean, it's no point.
Bro, you actually don't know the power of Madden. You know people are going to get Madden for whatever their favorite console is, bro. I got friends on Facebook getting Madden, already planning on getting the next Xbox and saying, bro, I'm getting on that Madden on Xbox, bro. You gonna play? You gonna get on? No, I'm not.
I've
Like,
seen people get jumped over a game of Madden for using Michael Vick back in the day. I've seen people get jumped for you. I've seen people get fought and beat up over games of Madden that were decided under 1 point. I mean, we're not talking about those people. We're not talking about those knuckle draggers. We're talking about people that are actually looking to protect their investment. We're talking about people that are actually dealing with half a brain, or in that case, at least 25% of one. I mean, we already know that there are going to be people like that that like, oh, I'm getting the new Madden, the new Xbox. We already know there are people like that.
Oh yeah,
We already
absolutely.
know. We know what that group is called. We're not gonna call them out. But we know what that group is called.
Oh,
But
man, not the
I'm
gamer
pretty
words.
much just catering to I'm catering towards people that are actually trying to get more bang for their buck and pretty much trying to make the best decision possible. Because I mean, Xbox isn't looking like it's it. That goddamn thing looks like a mini fridge anyway. The fuck am I
I
gonna
mean,
put that?
it's a small. It looks like a small form factor. It looks like a small PC already. I mean, essentially it is. But you know,
Just another thing in your room to stub your toe on, if you ask me. That shit.
oh man, I'm not gonna lie. I really do hope that the Xbox Series X and like everything that's gonna be coming out for the next gen Xbox comes out and does well. I want to be able to get it. I do. I really want. I personally, I want Xbox that I'm actually going to use a lot. I think the last actual Xbox exclusive that I played that I was looking forward to was Recore. And how long ago did that come out? Everything else that I wanted to play, when I wanted to try out Crackdown 3, because I was one of those guys that enjoyed Crackdown 1 and 2, I got it on PC. I got it on PC for $1 thanks to Xbox Game Pass. So it was like, if they are continuing to move forward and put everything from Xbox on PC, what's the point of me getting an Xbox? Like, I need Microsoft to prove to me and to show me as a gamer, what are they gonna do for me to want to get an Xbox? Like, if they're, let's gonna say the next Halo, if they're gonna put that exclusively on Xbox Series X, then okay, I'll consider it because I like Halo. If they're going to do a Sunset Overdrive 2, then it exclusively on Xbox Series X or something like that, then I will consider getting it because those are the games that I like. Just like on the flip side for Sony, I already said I was going to get a PlayStation 5, but if they're going to start off with the next PlayStation 5 with the Spider-Man 2, the next Spider-Man, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm gonna get it. So I need these companies to prove to me why I should get this. Why, as gamers, we should actually get their console instead of just worrying about everything coming to PC. Now, if they continue to go the route they're going for Sony, like how, you know, everybody's flipping out about Horizon Zero Dawn being on PC. The game came out 2 to 3 years ago. Don't bitch and complain about that. If you hadn't played it then, don't worry about playing it now. Now, if you want to get it on PC, sure. If I had the finances and really wanted to go back on and get it, I would get it on PC because that game looked phenomenal on PlayStation. So I can only imagine how it's going to look on the PC. But that game came out 2 or 3 years. It's coming out 2 or 3 years after the game actually came out and it's going to PC. Now, if Sony does that, I wouldn't care. I'm not gonna wait no damn 2 to 3 years to play the next God of War if they're gonna put it out on PC also. But if they start moving that route of putting their games day one on PC or something along those lines, then I'm gonna have to question Sony too. Like, why should I get your consoles if you guys are coming out with the same games on PC? Why?
I feel like it should like I feel like Xbox kind of fucked themselves over with this shit because like why would I buy your Xbox if I can play these shits on PC, bro?
Exactly.
Like Outer Worlds, right? What I look like buying what imagine if Outer Worlds came out for the like in the next gen, right? The hype for that game was pretty huge, especially for me. You know what I mean? And if it was an Xbox exclusive, I ain't gonna lie, I probably would have caved in, bought like a $100 Xbox just to play that game because I fuck with Obsidian. But instead of doing that, they put it on PC day one early, actually. For like, apparently you could play like 4 hours early. I don't remember when, but I remember playing a lot earlier than it was for other people, and I got to play the game on high settings. You know what I mean? Early. And I only got to play the game for $1. So it's like, what what's the point? Why am I buying this? You know what I'm saying? At least with PS4 or with Sony, you know what I'm saying? Not only are their games exclusively on the PlayStation, their games are fire. You know what I mean? So it's worth it. You know what I mean? Because this PS4 lineup, I really don't have to like go over it. We there's just straight heat on there. So there's a reason to go over and get it, because like I said, they're exclusives, actual exclusives, and they're good. But with Xbox, it's like they're not really technically exclusives. I guess you can call them Microsoft exclusives, but they're not Xbox exclusives anymore.
They're on loan. Basically, they're on loan, pretty much. It's like, I mean, there's more ways to get. It's more accessible, and I mean, the way it's looking, they pretty much. They shouldn't have said anything. Honestly, if you weren't going to come up with any titles ever released at this point, you were better off not saying anything. Like, genuinely, like I feel like not saying anything would have been smarter than what they did.
Hey, look, Xbox and Microsoft is clearly making it clear that even though they want to have these consoles out in next-gen consoles, they're worrying more about software than they are hardware, in my opinion. That's what it seems like. They're trying, Xbox Live has already infiltrated the Switch. They're already talking about more crossplay, and it seems like they're worrying more about software more than anything. So if that's the case, then so be it. But then just don't be upset when people don't want to buy your console because it's coming out on the PC also. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So CinCon earlier last week had a pretty good discussion with the homie JG, shout out to JG, about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and that kind of inspired me to have this discussion here on the GI Community Podcast, because I felt like it was a good discussion. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot by Bandai Namco is officially out. It's been out for, I want to say, almost or like 11 days now. It came out January 17th. It's a single player game. It's a action role player game. It's for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and for PC. Developed by Cyberkinetics, Bandai Namco Entertainment, and published by Bandai Namco and Bandai Namco Entertainment America. So the debate and the top of what people were saying in JG's chat and talking to Sin about, and CinCon sometimes allows the chat to get in his head. Sometimes it happens. They were saying it was trash. Now, I want to have a discussion with you guys about it. Is it really trash? Because from my personal opinion, I don't believe that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is trash at all. In fact, I actually think it is a great game. My main problem and concern with the game is the fact that the story is played out. Now, and I talked about this in my podcast, Gamer Flex, about this is what Bandai should do. If they take the gameplay and how they're presenting it in Dragon Ball Z Kakarot and apply it to Dragon Ball Super story, even though the story is continuing to move forward, having the open world, having the abilities to collect these character coins, where you can be, it's pretty much like a schematic of different areas. One raises your strength, another is communities. One raises the when you eat food, how much effect it has on you. Another one is about your training and whatnot, and you can go around and you can do these side quests, and then you can collect these community tokens and pretty much add on to them. And it's cool too because they interact with each other. For instance, if you have something with Goku, Tien, Yamcha, and they talk to each other when you connect them in a certain sequence, and they activate a bonus. If they put like stuff like that, that's really cool. And I think a lot of people may not necessarily know that because they're not going to play the game, because they're like, why do I want to keep playing against Frieza? Why do I want to keep seeing Krillin die in front of Goku's eyes to turn him Super Saiyan? Shut up, Sin.
Ooh, wow, that's spoilers.
Bro, I've never watched
30.
Dragon Ball, bro. It came out fucking 20 years ago. I never watched it.
Right. Spoiler alert. But my thing is, though, and this is just constructive criticism, is I I just literally just want them to apply the gameplay that they have, which I think is fantastic, to Dragon Ball Super Story. I won't necessarily say GT, just because I know some people like GT. Only reason why I personally like GT was for Super Saiyan 4. Everything else, I don't care. I really don't.
That's the story with GT. Like,
Yeah.
it's just Super Saiyan 4, everything else is out the window.
That's literally it.
So yeah, so literally, the questions I got for you guys is, and the discussion we want to have before we wrap this up is this game truly trash? I don't believe so. I'm just tired of the same story. Before we get to you, Sincon, because we know you're very opinionated and passionate about it, Corliss, what are your thoughts about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot? Have you had the opportunity to play it? What your thought process? Go.
No, I haven't played it yet, but it's definitely not trash. We need to start expanding our vocabularies here. It seems like a good game. It looks decent and everything. It just reminds me too much of, like, it looks like DLC that's 10 years too late for Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 2. So it's just, I'm sure it plays well and everything, but it's like, I'm sorry, I've seen the open world, the semi-open world element, and like this has some RPG elements, so that's all it seems like to me. I'll just wait for a price drop or see if I can just rent it or something. It's not trash, no, by no means. It's not a bad game, but it's not gonna hold my attention because we all know the story.
Yeah, it's at this point, it's just like, it needs a new story. What about you, 55? Your thoughts?
I'm pretty much going to tell everybody, like I told Sen and everyone when we actually had the conversation and what actually came up. People pretty much have to stop throwing that T word around, because I mean, there's a difference between absolute garbage, i.e. some of the games that we've seen before in the past, and something that pretty much is, I mean, it's good, but it doesn't reinvent the wheel. Pretty much what I was telling everybody about this game, and I was telling Sen earlier before we started, we're pretty much around the same, like, I guess the same point. We've pretty much seen close to the same things, and we've actually played and experienced the game to the same extent. And I agree with him, but at the same time, I have a differing opinion than him. I agree, it's definitely a great game, but at the same time, I'm just going to be one of those people that says it doesn't justify a $60 purchase, and it doesn't justify anybody rushing out to go in and go get it, because, I mean, we've already seen this. This Dragon Ball Z had been finished. I think Dragon Ball Z finished up in like 1995, it was before I was born. I'm 22 years old. I know the story. I've played damn near all the games. It doesn't justify a $60 purchase. Is it trash? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely not. So yeah, 1996. So it's still a couple years older than me. But no, Dragon Ball Z. I mean, it's not really. Dragon Ball finished in like, I think like the late 1980s, something like that. But yeah, like I was saying, it's not bad. It's definitely not trash. I mean, if I was to rate it on a scale 1 to 10, I would probably give it like a 7.9 to 8, because I mean, like I said, we've seen the story before. We've all fallen in love with the story. We've literally probably watched almost every episode at this point. If you haven't, I don't know what you're waiting on. But trash, that I hate when people use that word, because at the same time, it diminishes the meaning of the word when we use it such loosely on things that don't deserve it, and we don't sit here and actually use it in cases where it's supposed to be used, i.e. 2K, some of these other games that are literally sitting here scraping the bottom of the barrel, but people still pay for it every year. But I mean, as far as trash goes, this is definitely not it. This is far from trash. But it's no Fallout 76.
Oh man, that's trash. I'm sorry.
Worst game of the decade.
Trash.
Worst
trash.
game of the decade. There was not a game last decade that came out that was worse than Fallout 76.
Absolutely not. No.
We actually played Anthem. We could actually play Anthem for
I played Anthem, and it was
I
I enjoyed it, but it just didn't. The content didn't keep me in. Fallout 76 is in a comparison to like Sonic Forces to me, or like Sonic Boom. That type of trash.
That's on comparison. This is on comparison to ET.
Yeah, Anthem wasn't that bad.
Yeah, Anthem wasn't that bad at all. It was actually phenomenal. It was a fun time.
Relax.
Okay, so no. So listen.
Too far, Steve.
Listen. The reason why I say it was phenomenal is because of the time that I had with it, being able to enjoy it with my friends, flying around, truly feeling like Iron Man with your different javelins. But after doing the same missions over and over again, doing the same raids, then the content lacked for me, and then that's when I was like, dang man, I'm not having that fun time like I used to. That's what I was saying. At that moment, I was enjoying it. Like, I think I put over 100 plus hours the first month it came out. But then afterwards,
Brave
it was
man.
that's
You're
it.
a very brave man.
I had that
You're a
same
very brave man.
exact experience in the beta. The
Exactly.
game came out and it was not that same.
Oh, and
experience.
and the loot drops. My bad. But let's get back
That
on
shit was
topic.
terrible.
Let's get back on topic with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Sin, let discuss your thoughts about it, man. You were very passionate about it in JG stream. You don't have the chat here, so you have to worry about them getting into your head, my guy. Talk about it.
So basically, my only thing is that niggas in the chat were like, because the game got brought up somehow, right? And there was a bunch of niggas in the chat calling the game trash, right? And JG agreed. At first, he was like, "Yeah, this game trash" or whatever, but he was mostly trolling. And then it spiraled into a discussion where it was like between me, JG, Steve, and I think that was it. And it was a good discussion in voice, but it was the main thing where like I was looking in chat and I was seeing niggas call the game trash. So I was like, you know what? Let me just ask one of these niggas if they play the game. So I asked him. So this nigga was like, "Bro, why you talking about a trash game or something?" I was like, "Did you play the game?" He's like, "No." I was like, "So why are you calling the game trash?" He's like, "Cause I can't." So, and I was like, "You can't call a game trash if you never played it." He was like, "Yes, I can." I was like, "All right, bro, you're just dumb." Like, I know, people with a brain, they're not gonna call the game trash, like just straight up. They're gonna be like, it's just not my cup of tea, which is what JG said. Like, I'm not trying to relive the Dragon Ball story or the Dragon Ball Z story over and over or whatever, and that's fine. But to call the game straight up trash is false. Like, just straight
It's
up
unethical. It's unethical.
It's false because this game is not only a brand new thing for like anime games in general, but it's just a good game in general. Like, it's not phenomenal. It's not nothing insane, but it's good. You know what I'm saying? It's an enjoyable out of 10, which is what I think JoJo said that. So yeah, it's enjoyable. So I just don't appreciate niggas calling it trash. And for what you said, Ace, about it, they should apply it to Super. They can. Like, there's a whole season pass for the game. So if they want, they could release DLC packs for Super. GT, all the movies.
They need to make a new game for that, bro. Don't release
Exactly.
No.
Yeah,
There's
no.
point.
That's
no point.
no.
that would not be right.
No
I don't
point.
think that would be right to be able to hide
No
that
point.
type of
There's no
content
point.
on that payroll.
Why
on
would
a
you create
paywall.
a brand new game for it's the same world?
No,
Ace.
no,
What are you
but-
talking about?
I'll give you
reason-
three reasons. I'll give you three reasons.
ahead.
I got you. Go ahead and finish. Ace.
The reason why I was gonna say that they should actually come out with its own game and its own story is because alone the Tournament of Power could be its own game of all the
Exactly.
content that it has.
Exactly.
No,
What?
Exactly.
Are you
No, it
kidding
can't.
me?
You don't think so? Are you serious?
No, it can't.
From the start of when we find out that there are different universes until the end of the Tournament of Power, are you kidding me? That entire
So many
time,
different characters.
all the
So many
different characters and
characters.
everything. Are you kidding me?
The
They're
Tournament
going.
of Power arc can't be just put into a game because all it would be is a boss rush game. Because
Well,
all the Tournament of Power is the beginning of the Tournament of Power is everybody getting ready to be in the tournament. They get Frieza, they go to the place, they fight, and that's it.
But you're
How
also,
is that enough for a game?
but you're also.
Here's the thing.
Unless it's a fighting
Nobody
game.
said it had to be a story game. Nobody
Yeah.
said it had to be a story.
Unless it
could
was
be
like a fighting game. But the Fighter Z
It could
is
be a
right
fighter.
there.
Nah,
Here's the
Fighter Z
thing.
is right there though.
There are a lot of if it
With the
played
same
close
characters.
to Xenoverse, if it played close to Xenoverse, you don't think people want to pick that up?
Bro,
You know how many
Xenoverse
people
has the
don't
Tournament
like-
of Power stage.
Well, yeah,
But here's the thing.
Xenoverse 2 does.
It's
That's why I
not new.
Yeah, that's why I said
Oh.
no. I would want them to apply Dragon Ball Z Kakarot's gameplay to Dragon Ball Super. And okay, so let's talk about not just the Tournament of Power, even though I feel like there's a lot of content with that. Let's talk about the start of it because Dragon Ball Super actually takes place after the Buu saga, something that we continue to have to play over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like, if they started off like that and then they start going into Resurrection F and then they go against the Battle of the Gods and then they throw in the new Future Trunks saga and then they throw in the Universal arc and then they throw in the Tournament of Power and then being able to expand on Universe 6 Earth and Universe 7's Earth, or even better, throwing in Planet Sodalia, which is the original Saiyan planet before Planet Vegeta,
Well,
and
we
being
don't know
able to
anything about that.
but that's the thing, that they have that opportunity to be able to play around with it in the game, like do like what
But-
ifs, like how Dragon Ball
There's no
or
what
Dragon Ball
ifs.
Xeno. Well, that's what I'm saying.
This
They could've-
isn't a what if game though.
Well, okay. So let me take
I'll-
that.
I'll
No, so
finish.
take that.
concept-
So take that away. So take that Planet Sedalia stuff away. You have everything else I said. That is a game right there. That story, that is a game right there. Character development of Beerus, Whis, all the gods of destruction, Universe 6, Universe 12, Universe 2, all of them. Literally, the mini tournament that they had between each other for the Dragon Balls, the actual the Super Dragon Balls. Then the one that they had when they kind of did a little bit of the expedition match between Universe 6 and I forgot the other universe at the time that they had it. Like all of that, they have enough to easily make another game with that.
Bro.
And putting that behind a paywall would not be
Bro.
fair, bruh. It would not be fair.
Well, okay, well, let's really look at Super and try to put it into a game, right? So the first arc of Super is the Battle of Gods, right?
Yep.
That takes place on Earth. So there's no point in making a new game for that because we're already on Earth in this game. We spend majority of the game on Earth. So Battle of Gods doesn't need to be a new game. And oh wait, never mind. Battle of Gods is in Kakarot, so that's one arc down. Universe 6 arc, they go to one stage and then they come back to Earth, stay there a little bit. Future Trunks arc, they go to Future Trunks' place. That can easily be as DLC. You go over to that Earth to destroyed version of Future Trunks Earth. You go there, you do all the fights with Goku Black, Vegeta versus Goku Black, Zamasu versus Trunks, all that stuff. And then that's it right there. And then after Universe 6 after Future Trunks arc, that it's the Tournament of Power, which is again one stage. So if you add all that up, that's not 40 hours.
Bro, you
all.
said one stage. The Universal Survival Saga was between 77 episodes to 131, bro. And you're telling me
it all took place in one stage, Ace. One Tournament of Power stage. They came from Universe 7, their Earth. They were training. They got Frieza. I guess, yeah, you can throw in the Goku versus Frieza fight. You throw that in. Then you travel to the Tournament of Power stage. Then what?
So
you do all the fights that happen in Tournament of Power. So you
wouldn't
versus the
want
Proxies or
to
whatever.
go to the other universes and actually play as those main characters from different universes as they're preparing for the Tournament of
But
Power.
we don't have an entire. This is a canon game, so we don't have all of that those blueprints for their Earths, like and shit like that. Like we don't have an entire. We don't have an entire layout for the different universes like Earths and shit. We don't have an entire layout for Universe 6. We don't have an entire layout for Universe 12 and 11 and all that. We have like a glimpse of like one city of a planet per universe, and then that's it. I guess you can go over to like universe. What's the one with the robot? I guess you could go over there and watch the robot or whatever. Like. Super as a whole isn't enough to make a game because they don't do that much. It's just like Super. If you combine Z, you have the Saiyan arc, which is multiple fights, like trainings and shit. Then you go to the Namek arc. You have the entirety of Namek right there, which is in an entire open world in itself. You have Namek. Then you come back to Earth. You fight Cell with all the Cell fights and stuff with the androids and stuff, and then you have Majin Buu arc, which is pretty extensive. But all these arcs, like if you compare them to super arcs, it's not enough to make a game. And even then, there's nothing wrong behind putting it behind a paywall because this game by itself with the Z storyline is already 40 hours. So if you combine the paywall and like. I don't even like to call it paywall. It's just DLC, man. Like it's an expansion pack or whatever. Like you could easily just add the Super storyline as like $15 DLC. So in total, you probably have like another like 30 hours to go through all that. And then in total, you have the entire Z story and you have the entire Super story in a game. And then if you want, you can do the GT storyline and you can do the different movies like the Broly movie and and Android. What was the?
Here's my thing.
Cowboy Android?
I'm not gonna try to cut you off, but here's my thing. My thing is this: Super has something that Z doesn't have to its advantage. Super is still ongoing. I don't know if you guys in here read the manga, but
it's getting lit in the manga apparently.
Yeah, Super's manga, it's literally doing shit that I want to say this actual like Dragon Ball in a whole has not done before. So if you're going to make the argument that, I mean, it's not enough substance, you got to realize that this is still ongoing. We don't know when this arc specifically is going to end or when it's going to take a break or if they go through their whole entirety. They've already announced that they're going to do another movie. Who knows if that's going to be canon or not. So the substance is still coming to fruition. So if you're going to make the argument, if you should just, it's no problem with putting Kakarot behind a paywall with these next chapters, why wouldn't you put an idea towards doing something fresh and doing something that's still developing right now? Because there's still enough substance left in this arc. And I genuinely feel like we're probably not even 25% through this arc because I'm not going to spoil it, but things literally just started kicking off now. And the big payoff hasn't even revealed itself to this arc. So that's literally a whole nother arc right there on top of what we already have. And I mean, with whatever the movie is going to be, whatever that comes out to, that could be another. So in my opinion, if you're going to pay for something to further expand on a game that you already have, why not be something that's fresh? Why not be something that's currently being worked right now? Because in my opinion, I mean, if you want me to go ahead and pay extra for, I mean, GT, I didn't like GT. GT didn't do enough for me. But here's the thing. Even if that's what you're offering to add to the game, GT didn't do enough for me watching it for me to want that even in the game. I like Kakarot because I like the original story. That'll always resonate with everybody. None of us in here will be talking about the game or played that game if we didn't like the story, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
If GT is all you had to add, and if you're making the argument that Super can't be made into a game, you could have easily just made the argument where if you just did the base Kakarot game, it shouldn't have been made into a game because we've already seen it. The only other carrots that they're dangling over our noses is that they're going to possibly add other arcs down the road. But if those arcs aren't your cup of tea, then what's the point? You know what I mean? It's like, what's the point of even if it's free, what's the point of downloading it if you're not interested? You couldn't even you literally were just talking about the arc for GT. You couldn't even tell me all the characters and tell me all the proper villains because you don't care. It wasn't that good. It simply was. But here's the thing: you could look it up. But I mean, does it resonate the memory? Can you name it just right now, just off the head?
What? Oh, for GT?
Yes.
Omega, all the Shenrons, Evil Android.
You can't name them. You can't name them by name, right? Because
Omega
it doesn't
Shenron,
Exactly.
So what I'm getting at is pretty much the reason why Kakarot was so good is because it was prolific. It has all the villains that we knew. It has all the arcs that we've been through. Super is a fresh change of pace because it's stuff that's still ongoing. And literally, if you just want to do the base game, but the base game isn't close to 40 hours. From what I've played with Kakarot, if you take your time and you're actually one of those people that actually try to do everything like I was, because I mean I don't play games that let you do other stuff besides the linear tasks. I don't play them just straight through. If you're one of those people that actually promotes doing stuff outside of it, you know Dragon Ball Z is literally no stranger to filler and no stranger to side stories and side quests. You could fit that in there so it can get closer to the 40. And if you're gonna add content,
no filler. There's no filler there is filler, but it's sort of like a game mechanic in Kakarot with Z where you have the driver's license shit, but that's a very minor part of the game and that's a tiny piece of filler.
Here's the thing: you could add also a little bit. You could add little bits and pieces like that to it if you wanted to. And even if you didn't, like I said, the current arc that is ongoing isn't even halfway or even I want to say it's like a little to a quarter way through. So you still have more to work with. You know what I mean?
Super, right?
Yeah, the super, if you go based off what's going on in the super manga, because down the road, I want to say give it a year.
No. I don't think they're gonna take it off super manga. They're going off of anime, but only canonically what's in the anime.
You know that the manga is going to become the anime at one point. You know that they're going to put that on television. You know that they're going to animate that and put that on television. Super's not.
Yeah, but
pretty
Super's ahead of the manga. Like, it's been ahead of the manga for like 2 years now, and that's its own like canon thing now. Like, it's like in some animes, like some people say like the way it works sometimes is some things aren't canon because the manga didn't have that in, but because Super's ahead of the manga, that's its own I'm forgetting canonicity or whatever it's called.
And still, with all that considered, they could at one point make that canon because it's enough to the point where it even justifies Super still going. Because if you ask me, with the way that Super ended, I mean,
well, it's coming back too, by the way. Just put that out
yeah,
there.
that's what I'm saying. We know it's coming back, but I mean, at the same time, most likely what you're seeing, like with the current, like pretty much with the current arc in the manga, I feel like that's most likely going to end up with their animating. I don't think that it's going to be something completely different because at this point, it would be no point in it being different because from what I've seen from the manga, it actually made me want to physically pick up the book and read it. That's probably the best thing that we've gotten out of Dragon Ball Z since the main, like pretty much since the main course line ended. And I'm not saying that just for the sake of because I picked up a book and read it. I'm saying that because it genuinely is great. Like, I'm without spoiling it, we're actually getting a villain that's unique from the rest of the villains that we've seen so far in the show. His motives, I mean, for the most part, his motives are kind of the same as the rest of those villains, but at the same time, he's much more ruthless than the rest of the villains we've seen. So it's like it poses a new threat level. And for the most part, even though it's been minor up to this point, they're making all the other characters outside of Goku and Vegeta matter again. Like, all I'm gonna say is one name: Yamcha. When was the last time we heard that? When was the last time we heard about that nigga mattering?
Right before the TOP.
Exactly.
He was in consideration as one of the
Did he play a role? But did he play a role in the TOP?
No, not at all.
Well, he's playing a role right now in the manga. So it's pretty much a good number of reasons as to why I feel like when Super comes back, it's literally going to be the arc that we're reading in the manga because it's literally the best thing that they've come up with and want to say like what 20 years.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. They're waiting because I'm pretty sure they're just waiting on the manga to catch up a little bit, and because that's what filler is already. But the thing is,
it's directly after it.
If it's right after the TOP, then that's what's going to be animated. But
exactly.
For Kakarot, we're talking about Kakarot. Like if a game like that
I was talking about a sequel. I was talking about if you're gonna make a sequel to Kakarot. Yeah,
but there's no point. Would you rather pay like $20 in DLC or $60 for a whole new game? You said what?
I'm not one of the people who'd have bought it for $60 anyway. But if you were to give me a new experience, I would definitely consider that more than just doing something that I've already seen, because it's like we already know how it's going to unfold. You know what I mean? It's like the cat's out of the bag. For anybody that says it's a spoiler to a game, it's like this shit. How long is Dragon Ball Z existing? If you haven't at least seen everything with Dragon Ball Z to this point, there's no hope for you. You're lost. Okay, it's like you're lost. It's shit's been out longer than your parents have been on the planet. Some people.
But it's a game for Dragon Ball fans who love the story and wouldn't mind experiencing it again in a brand new way, which is the entire like archetype of Kakarot. It's Dragon Ball Z story over again, but with innovative gameplay in the anime genre. With an open world.
I would pose to you is combat. If they use Super in that same respect, they could possibly get new eyes on the product. They could possibly appeal to the people who are already following Super. So it's not like the customer base won't be there. You know what I mean? It's like
it's
the
not
way
gonna
that
be
you're
as big
describing
as Kakarot, I'm pretty sure. Because if
Kakarot,
you didn't know, nigga, but a lot of the internet despises Super. So it's like, I guarantee you, a game exclusively based off of Super would not have sold as much as Kakarot. Because, like I said, a lot of niggas don't like Super.
There are a good majority of people on the internet that don't like Dragon Ball Z, period.
But
you can't cater to everybody. You can't cater to everyone.
There are some niggas who wouldn't shit on Kakarot or on Z the same way they shit on Super. Like, there are niggas in here, back when Super was ongoing, that shat on that shit all the time. Like, they would try to clown on that shit all the time. You wouldn't see that with Z, really. Because not only is it a legendary franchise, it's a legendary franchise, but they can make a game they made a game for that franchise already, like it's already done, and it's in a brand new, like it's in a brand new way. But if you know, for the people that do enjoy Super, we created a season pass where we're gonna add extra content, and that extra content could possibly be Super storyline. So like I said, the game already goes up to Battle of Gods, which is the first arc. For DLC, they could release each Super arc in chapters for like $5, right? Like $3, whatever. $5 you get Universe 6 arc, right? Because that's not a big arc really. That's not much. There's not a lot going on over there. It's like two new areas. You go there, you have Beerus's planet. You go there, you train with Whis. And then after that you have the Universe 6 tournament. Universe 6 and tournament. You can add that as a chapter. After that, you have the Future Trunks arc, add that as a chapter. And then you have the TOP, make that a huge chapter with all the fights, all the individual fights. They could do that. I would rather they do that with the season pass and add other content than creating a brand new game that for sure wouldn't sell as well as a Z game like that. Because like I said, niggas don't really fuck with Super like that. Like if Bishop was on here, he'll tell you he hates Super. You know what I'm saying? Granted, he doesn't have a valid argument to hate Super, but
so then why are you using him as an example?
But what I'm saying, he doesn't like, regardless of whether the reason he doesn't like it, he still doesn't like it. You know what I mean? But I guarantee he would never say that about Z, and that goes for a lot of people that dislike Super. They would never disrespect Z the way they disrespect Super at all, ever. They would never do that. So
I'll put this in perspective to you. I'm just gonna go ahead and cut you off. But it's like I'm not gonna go into like brief detail because I know this video is probably long enough. But pretty much what you're describing to me is people are holding it to a higher regard due to nostalgia and due to recognizing it. In the same respect where you have people that are literally willing to shell out because of nostalgia purposes and what we already know and what we already know we're getting. You could still possibly have the same demographic that doesn't know anything about it. You could possibly get people that don't really know anything about Super and might just fuck around and think it's a whole new story in itself. You never know what you're going to get with that same prospect. So if you're measuring it not selling well compared to a new product, I mean, this game was going to sell well anyway because they know it's the same shit. It's one of those things where you couldn't lose because even if somebody bought this game, they couldn't lose because it's the same shit. You are literally essentially handing in the same project and getting an A twice for it.
Nah, bro.
That's literally essentially what it is.
A Super,
but
like,
I mean,
if it was called Dragon Ball Super Kakarot, it would not have had this. It wouldn't have sold as well. If it was the exact same game, and I don't even think it would be the same good game, because like I said, the whole point of Kakarot is it's pure canon, and you free roam around the Earth and Namek. Where with Super, it's not that much free roam, really. It's like small stages, small areas, and like one area for extended periods of time with these different arcs. It's like it's not the same way they could do it with Z, where the Earth is like your ground. It's where majority of the fights take place, and the world changes as these arcs go. It's just not the same. It just wouldn't be the same thing with Super. It's not the same. Not only in terms of nostalgia, because obviously nostalgia is a huge factor when it comes to Dragon Ball Z games.
I feel like it's the biggest factor at this point because it's the same. It's essentially been the same game. What I'm trying to hammer to you is you just hit the nail on the head. It's nostalgia at this point. So even if you look at it as a completely different prospect with Super is new ground. That's the point I'm trying to make to you. You're comparing new ground to something where it's like you literally can't fail because we already know what we're looking at. The reason why I think me and Ace are saying we would much rather see them do a Super game because it's something new. They're taking a new perspective on things. At that point, me as a consumer and me as a fan, I would much rather take something that's new or like pretty much them loosely coming with a new idea than something that I've already seen. That's why I explained to you earlier, I didn't personally buy Kakarot with my own money. I would have never bought Kakarot with my own money if it was more than $40-$30. It doesn't make it a bad game in any stretch of the imagination, but I'm one of those people where I know the story. I've played through the story a multitude of times. I can literally count. I don't even have enough fingers on both of my hands with how many times I played through the main storyline. I would much rather take a chance on something that's new than play what we've already seen before, because we already know it's great. We've already loved it for years at a time. But at this point, it's like, if you're going to come out with the same idea, at least change it up to the point where it's kind of enjoyable and it kind of feels like it was validated. You know what I mean? Not saying that Kakarot isn't validated, but I mean, it's the same shit. We knew what we were going to get. We knew that game was going to be successful regardless, because it's to the point where if nobody bought it, okay, cool. Even if a little bit of people bought it, you're still essentially paying for something that has existed for almost 30 years. You can't lose at that point.
So basically, you would have preferred them to just make a super game, and that's it.
I'm not saying.
I'm saying that. I'm saying
so
that.
basically,
But
y'all wanted it to be called Dragon Ball Super Kakarot instead of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And
Yes.
You're missing the point.
You're missing the point, though.
That's for
what I'm trying to say to you is, we've already seen this. This is what they call in the business world a safe idea. You could not go wrong with this idea, because even if there are people that have never played a Dragon Ball Z game before, if literally nobody bought it, it would still be a safe idea, because you still have a little number of masses, or a certain number of masses, that would have bought this regardless, because of the namesake, because of the story, because of nostalgia. Like I said, that's the reason, that's the biggest driving point behind Kakarot. They knew that even if new players or people who weren't interested in Dragon Ball Z at all didn't pick up this game, there would still be a certain number of people who've literally played these games over and over that will buy it regardless.
But then again, this is also a new thing. Like, this type of game has been requested for years, and it's never been done before.
But here's the thing. It's still close to the source material, is it not?
Yes, but I'm talking about the game itself. The core Dragon Ball community wants a game like this.
Let me finish.
They want the Super or the Z storyline in that type of game.
Understand that, but let me finish. It's the same source material. It's literally the same thing that we've seen for years. The only point that I'm trying to make to you is, in the same breath that there is literally people who probably have never picked up this game because, I mean, one, they don't know anything about Dragon Ball Z, or they don't know if this is going to be something new or worth a purchase. In the same respect, there will be people that will probably just pick up the super game just for the sake of it being something new and something they might not know about. So it's pretty much two sides of the coin. You could have people that are going to buy. No, you could doubt it, but here's the thing. You can't speak for everybody. Just like with this game, you can't speak for everybody, because at the same time, as much as we covet Dragon Ball Z and as much as we were going to be interested regardless, there are probably people who looked at it and said, man, fuck this shit. I already know what this is. You can literally look up the story for multiple games and it will literally be the same shit.
They could have said the exact same thing about Super, though. Man, fuck this shit. Super's trash anyways. Why am I going to pay $60 for a game covering a storyline I consider trash? Because
there are still people that probably never have seen it. That's the point I'm making to you. You're taking the point of, it's something that we already seen, it's something that's already established. We're going to go with that. That's the safe bet over people that would actually be interested in playing something that is completely new. Like, I'll give you an example. Like Dragon Ball Z Fighters. We personally know that story was ass. Ass. I don't care what anybody said. That was ass. Yeah, but do you think there are people out there that still probably tried it just for the sake of trying it because they knew it was something new? Yes. I guarantee you, because I can name off 10 people I know who bought that game looking at this story, thinking that story was going to be something completely different, something breathtaking. Those are the people we're talking about right there. Hey. Because there are going to be people that are going to play it just because it has the Dragon Ball Z namesake, even though it's Super. There's still going to be people that are going to play it regardless and purchase it regardless. We know that. They have the namesake.
Yeah.
But there's still the possibility of getting people that aren't interested in playing the old stuff or playing stuff that we've already seen that could possibly pick it up. Like, yo, this shit is new. This might be a new slate. This might be like something we haven't seen before the last 20 years that they've been releasing Dragon Ball Z games. So the argument that I'm pretty much making to you is, and I'm pretty much going to leave it off of this. The argument that I'm making to you is, there's a safe bet, and then there's a chance to build something that you've never built before that might be pretty much a game changer. Because, I mean, as far as video games go, if it's the same shit that you've seen in the show, what really justifies a $60 purchase? I understand what you're saying, and from what I've played with as well, I understand what you're saying is it's like they expanded and they pretty much essentially gave us the game that people have always wanted, but at the same time, they didn't really change anything source material wise, and you know
they don't have
because
to. They wouldn't do the same thing with Super. Super's its own material already. Like I feel like we're arguing two completely different points here. I was talking about I was validating Super as a game and its existence with Z's storyline, but you're talking about like something completely like you would have much rather it been like a Super or like I don't even know, bro. Like
what
I'm
I'm
not
justifying
arguing.
is
You're
pretty much
you're on a completely different track than I am.
I
I'm
think
not-
you guys
pretty
are-
much what I'm arguing.
I'm
Pretty much what I'm arguing.
I'm gonna have
is
to cut you. I'm gonna have to cut you guys both off because look, I think you guys bring some good points to the conversation about just the validation of even having Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, or having Dragon Ball Z Kakarot include Dragon Ball Super story, or having Dragon Ball Z Kakarot be Dragon Ball Super actually be its own game with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot elements. I think there's points both made, but I'm gonna be honest, we'll probably all be able to continue this engagement and debate for hours, because I know Dragon Ball is definitely something that we all feel passionate about. And we have an opinion about it, and I think it's a good conversation. But for our listeners' sake, I think we're gonna go ahead and table this discussion, and we're gonna agree to disagree. You guys that are listening right now, you guys hear the conversation that we're having with the panel. What do you guys think? Comment down below on the YouTube video and let us know your thoughts. Let us know your thought process about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Is it trash? Do you enjoy it? Do you believe that Dragon Ball Super should be included into this as DLC? Do you believe that they should have Dragon Ball Super as its own game but with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot elements? Let us know. On behalf of the rest of the Game Illuminaughty, Corliss, 55 Sin, I really do appreciate you guys coming through once again for the first GI community podcast of the year. We really do appreciate the continued support, and if you guys would like to be like how the panel is, be sure to check us out over on Patreon as patreon.com/GI updates. We have a whole bunch of awesome tiers. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you guys are new. We really do hope that you guys have a good, blessed rest of your day. Be sure to hug your families, tell them you love them, and just thank you guys so much for coming through. Before we end it, all you guys put in your plugs. 55, where can they find you? Let them know. Where can them IG thotties message you at on IG, man? Let them know.
My name is pretty much the same on every platform, excluding Snapchat. You niggas will never get that. But yeah, pretty much Instagram. If I make a Twitter, it's probably going to be that same name. Facebook, you're not going to need my Facebook. I don't even use that shit. But yeah, pretty much. I'm probably not going to follow you back anyway.
Wow. All right. Corliss, where can they find you at, my guys? Put out your plugs.
Discord. I couldn't message me on Twitter for free. Nah, you can pay for that shit. But yeah, thanks for listening to the GI Community Podcast or the Bandai Namco Podcast. I don't know which one.
Facts. Big facts.
Damn,
Big
man.
facts. Yo, Sencon, yo, tell the people where they can find all the smoke. Cause I remember a few days ago, you told people it was you that's actually bringing the money for the GI, because you know you want all the smoke. You said tell the people where you can find them. You want to get the smoke? Find them in the GI community Discord. Let them know your plugs, Sencon.
Hey man, listen, I don't argue over Twitter because I'm not a primate, but you can find me on Twitch and Twitter at the Sencon, and on Instagram as well, but I don't use that shit. Eventually I will, and you can find me on Discord. I ain't even finna say my whole Discord because it's just numbers, but you know, if you join the community, if you join the Patreon, I'm in there. I'll probably say what's up to you when you first hop in there, because I just do that for everybody. I just give them a welcome message or whatever, and then keep it pushing. So you know, if you come in here, you'll see me, nigga. That's it.
Wow. All right, you guys. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much for another episode of the GI Community Podcast. You guys have a great rest of your day. We out. Peace.
I was wrong.